Hello, welcome to Three Crows Runes. My name is Jen. Let's do some rune readings. Today we are doing readings for the solstice. Now, I am in the Northern Hemisphere, so we are going to be doing readings about the returning light. If you are in the Southern Hemisphere, I wish you a very joyous solstice, summer solstice. Here we are having the winter solstice, so I'm sort of doing that. But even if you are in the Southern Hemisphere and you're having summer, the returning light is still... It's symbolic, so it's basically in your life the light that is starting to return from where you are. So I'm laughing because the cat was eating crunchy food like right next to me, and I was waiting for her to stop so that I could start this video. She's great. Anyway, Freya wishes you a joyous solstice as well. What you doing, baby? You thinking about how to get down? Okay. Anyway, so I have 4 cards from the Gentle Creatures Wisdom deck. Card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, and card number 4. I know the fur all blends together on them, but there are 4 cards. Look at the bases. And I'm going to be using the black tourmaline runes, the Elder Futhark on black tourmaline. So feel into the cards. One of these or more of these will have a message for you about the returning, okay, she got down okay, about the returning light. So I will put the timestamps in the description and I will see you at the readings. Bye. Hello, card number 1, people. So let's start by turning this card and seeing where you're coming from, really, from where the light is returning from. So it's the card that's called All. I love this card. I love this deck. But anyway, we're in a state of, well, I mean, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you're in a state where it's shortest day, longest night. But it's basically, having turned inward a bit, you're just basically able to be aware of all of this around you and that you are surrounded by light, even if it seems like it's small points, but loads of them. So there is a radiance to all things. Even air has a radiance. So it's the radiance that you're sort of experiencing at this point. I mean, last week we talked about the emanating moon and just finding that radiance in all things. And you're really pretty much there at this point. You're really feeling that. So when the outer light returns, it's sort of like you know where it's coming from. So let's get some runes down and do a reading about this. Yeah, I love that. The Pertho here talking about, the things. It's a surprise, but it's what was always there. And that's really the sort of thing, like if you're focusing on the radiance, it's like it's a surprise because you don't realize how pervasive it is until you start thinking about it and start looking at it. But then it's always been there. It's always been all around you. And it's wonderful. So, central issue is Yira. Yira is the rune of the harvest and also time. So it's really the coming to fruition of what you've been working on since you sort of had this epiphany, which is shown here as leading up with Pertho, which is the lot box. This has to do with surprises and fate. So it's the surprises, but it's the surprises of things that were always there. You just didn't realize it. So being very aware of all and the radiance and everything, and then now you're in a situation where you're feeling very much in the present moment with this. You're feeling like this is, this right now it's all coming together. And yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. So what is going to help you? We have Gabo, which is the rune of the gift. The gift is always an exchange. So it's time to make some agreements, decisions, plans, and goals. It could be as simple as, I want to always remember this. I want to remember this knowing as the light returns, because being aware of that radiance coming from everything, it's actually easier in a darker state, like not dark, like, you know what I'm saying, like dark in terms of the richness of night, and where there's not as much glaring light, where you suddenly are starting to be aware that there is light, even if it's not the light that you generally see by walking around. So basically, so you want to give yourself that agreement that's like, I'm going to always try to remember this. I want to remember this feeling. It could also be just like change ideas that you're going to have, decisions you're going to make where you're sort of changing how you're going to go about things. But it's definitely a time to make those agreements, decisions, plans, and goals. Gabo also speaks of one-on-one interactions, so you may have someone that you trust that you're going to share this with as well, these thoughts about this. What isn't going to help is we have Dagas, which is the rune of the breaking of the day. So again, if it's the light returning, which was what this whole reading session is about, as the light returns, it can become easier to forget that there is light coming from pretty much everything, even if you can't see it, because the light that is coming in is so almost overwhelming. And then also there's the element of overwhelm where it's like there's so much that you have to tune out some of it, as far as like you have to kind of forget a little bit, because otherwise it's just everything coming at you. So either way, overwhelm is not a good thing. So you basically want to take care of that. One of the ways that you're going to be able to do that is to bring yourself back up to Gabo. These are agreements, decisions, plans, and goals. So just to have that agreement with yourself that you're going to remember. Maybe you're going to pay honor to this daily kind of thing. But either way, it'll help you stay in the present moment. Use the time that you have, and also to appreciate the fruition of this that's come in. What is your next step on the path line, and what is pinning the entire reading is Ingvaz. Ingvaz is Ing's rune. Ing is another name for Frey, and Frey is the fertility god. So this has to do with active creation. There may be a legacy aspect to this, but I'm really going to focus on the active creation element, where you're going to take this and you're going to integrate this into your life, this knowing that you've just had when you turned inward and you sort of had that realization, that epiphany, that there's light in almost everything. Like, it's basically everything is radiance. And you're going to integrate that through everything because you're a part of that. What is going to help you is to have around you comfort, sanctuary, home. We have Othala, which is the rune of the home and the homeland. So to give yourself a place of comfort from which to experience this. You may be out and about and you don't have that. You can try to have that, but sometimes you have to focus on, the road. And so basically, while you integrate this, one of the things you can do is do this at home, like make it a daily practice kind of thing. And also just a place of comfort. So when you are in that state of comfort, that's when you can remember to open out and say, to start to become aware of the radiance around you. And just that's how you're going to integrate that into your daily life. What is not going to help? I keep seeing fuzzies on here. What is not going to help is it's all going to be extension of the overwhelm, where you're in a situation where the overwhelm is continuing. So we have Kaunas, which is the torch or the fire, something that starts small like an ember and goes into a blaze. It's in the lower line, which isn't helping you. It's pointed from, this hole is coming from here. So we've got, this realization. And when you start to think about it, if you let it, it can overwhelm you. And also just like the light coming in, there can be a lot of flashy light, which doesn't have as much. It's funny because the pure radiance of things, the inherent pure radiance of things, it's more light than the flashy lights that you get around you, like the whole neon and flashy look at me lights. So it's kind of like which one you're going to focus on, and it's like the truer light is the one that's going to nourish you more. It's like this. So, but that can overwhelm, and then also just the awareness can overwhelm if you let it, which may or may not be a bad thing, but it seems to be a bad thing because it's not helping you here, and you need to have certain boundaries. So boundaries for radiance awareness. So what this rune is saying in the center thing where you're integrating things is what won't help is just letting it overwhelm you. Whatever is overwhelming you, the overwhelm is, letting that get out of hand. So bring yourself back into a place of comfort, because that's what's going to help you all the time. Like whenever, just having having those boundaries set up, having those agreements set up, and then also giving yourself that place of comfort from which to experience this. Definitely going to help. And then you'll be able to integrate this into your life a little bit better. Your next step on the path line, we have Berkana reversed. Berkana is the rune of the birch tree. It has to do with beginnings and birth. This is a new you that you're incubating. It's all about integration, but you're incubating a new you. You're sort of stopping a beginning that you were having before you had this realization and reaching deep inside and just incubating this new you. You're going to go back a few steps and say, okay, now I'm going to move forward using this light, integrating this new light that's coming in. What is going to help you the most is just to be open to it. And also what will help is whatever the divine is for you, to connect with that. We have the blank rune, and those are things about that. It's just to be open to what there is, and like that whole non-judgmental openness to what's coming in. And then also that connection to the divine. Again, whatever the divine is for you, because you can have a sense of the divine without believing in anything at all. So that's fine. Whatever the divine is for you. It could be just the universe. It could be, the radiance itself. It could be, and then it could be deities. It could be higher self. It could be any of those things. So whatever that is for you is going to help you with that. What is not going to help is, again, continuing along this line of overwhelm and things that are too much. We have Hagalaz, which is through the hailstorm. This has to do with chaos and things that are out of your control, and weather and natural forces. And that's the thing. If you let any of this overwhelm you, it starts to feel like it's too much because it's out of control and it's out of your control. Nothing really is, but there are things that are kind of. But anyways, just that whole frighteningness of the bigness of it, like how big it is and how much it is, and it's everywhere. And even just like the overwhelmingness of even beyond the natural radiance of things, just everything coming at you, and then it can get out of hand, and then you feel like it's all overwhelming and it's like crazy and chaotic. Bring yourself back up to that stillness, that quiet, that openness, and that connection to whatever the divine is for you, and that will help you to grow this new you that's developing. And the end of the reading, the last rune in the set of the spread is Rydho reversed. Rydho is the rune of the journey. This has to do with the journey of your life that you're taking. It is reversed. I'm going to read this the same way that I was reading Varkana, which is not so much that you're ending a journey, although you may be ending a chapter in your life, but basically turning that journey inward. This is like the inner development, and this is the inner journey. So give this to yourself inwardly, because that's how you're experiencing the deep, pure radiance in things anyway. I mean, you can kind of feel it if you work on that, like with your physical hands, but you can even, just a lot of it's going to be just getting yourself into that mindset and then feeling it that way. So having that inner journey happen, and that's going to help you with the returning light. So that is your reading, card number 1, people, about the returning light. And I wish you all the best with this, and wherever you are, a joyous solstice. And whenever you're watching this, like maybe you're not watching this anywhere near the solstice, but you're still welcome to it. I wish you all the best. And have a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 2, people. Welcome, welcome. Joyous Solstice. If you're watching this anywhere near the solstice, if not, hello. Just have a lovely day. So let's start by turning this card about returning lights. We have uprooted. So, so there may be a situation for you at this point where we're coming into a situation where the light is returning, where maybe you're in a situation where you're feeling very comfortable turning inward, and where you were sort of, this is where you want to be. And now that the light's coming back up, you're kind of like, man, I miss it a little bit. I mean, it's like, I was talking to some people about this, and we all sort of had the same feeling of, I don't miss the pandemic. I like when it was in its raging initialness. It was upsetting. It was terrible. It was terrifying. Like, people were dying. It was awful. And there was a lot of stuff that I don't miss about it. But what I do miss was the quiet and not being expected to be anywhere. And just the calm quiet of being in a place of, hopefully you as well were in a place of comfort during this. So, there's that kind of thing. So when we turn inward, and when we are in a calmer and deeper and more reserved inner kind of space and mindset, having the lights come up again and being dragged back out into things, it seems, that can feel like being uprooted. So there's that going on. Let's get some runes down and do the reading about this. So I'm going to lay out all the runes of this reading, and then I'm going to read them. hearing something, and I don't know what it is that I'm hearing. I think it's just the sound of like pipes and things. General habitation sounds. So oop. Okay. Let's get this last rune of the reading. Nice. Perfect. Perfect. Lovely. You will be, to give you the happy ending and a bit of a spoiler, happy about this by the end of it. So your central issue here is algaes, which is the rune of the elk. This has to do with protection and support. So that's actually one of the things, because when you're like living, in hermit mode and you're not out, there is a sense of feeling, again, you've got the uprooted thing. So, look, doesn't it look like he's lost an antler maybe? Because he's got that one antler, or she. But anyway, it's just roots or whatever. But just feeling like, that you're losing a bit of that. So there's that sense of protection. There's that sense of support, that nice support around you. Because this is not even inner, it's like around you support. And you're sort of concerned about that. Now, what led up to this, we have Gabo, which is the rune of the gift. That's agreements, decisions, plans, and goals. It's always an exchange, so it may also have to do with one-on-one interactions. But it's something that you sort of, maybe going deep with yourself was a decision that you made, an agreement that you made with yourself. It's like, I'm going to go and do this, turn inward and do this deep inner work. And now that the light is returning, I'm a bit concerned that my protection and support feelings are not going to be as comforting, because I'm not going to be where I had that for a while. What is going to help you? We have Isa, which is the rune of ice. Ice is the rune of standstill and stillness, and it's the stillness through which clarity comes. So if you start to feel like you're losing your sense of support around you, give yourself some stillness, and give yourself stillness until that sense of clarity is starting to come back in. And that's going to help you the most. And even just give yourself a moment of stillness so that you don't get overwhelmed. I don't see doggas here anywhere, but I feel like overwhelm is something that you're genuinely concerned about in this, because you've had a nice quiet comfort zone for a while. I don't see Othala in this either, which is really, these are two runes that I would have expected in a reading about feeling uprooted after the light starts to come back and inner work. But anyway, being still is very important, and that's going to help you a lot. What isn't going to help is just forcing yourself to continue this journey. Like, it's big. Like, this is the biggest crystal in the whole rune set, is that they stuck Rytho on it. So, so it's like not only big, but it's thick. And so you may feel like, okay, I agreed to do this and I agreed to come out at this time. And forcing yourself to just like out the door is not going to help you. You're going to feel overwhelmed really fast. You're going to feel uprooted. So if you start to feel like that, and if you start to feel like, I'm going to push myself to do this, please don't. Bring yourself back to a place where you can actually be still. Take your time. Get around you what you can to feel supported, and then just basically take it carefully. Like, give yourself stillness when you need it. Your next step on the path line, we have Pertho reversed. Pertho is the rune of the lot box. This has to do with surprises and fate. Excuse me. I'm fine. It is reversed on the central. It's reversed in the pinning rune spot of this entire reading. So it's the center of the entire reading. This is what pins the entire reading. So this is going to be pretty critical for you. Is the things that you're learning about yourself. This is going to be key. And at this stage where you've gone from, okay, I had this agreement with myself to do this, including this agreement with myself to come out at this point, like to come out from that at this point, and now I'm a bit concerned about support and protection, asking yourself, what have I learned about myself? It's not necessarily unpleasant surprises. It might be that once you come out, you'll start to see things that are surprising you that are not very comfortable. But the main thing, even as an antidote to that, is to look for, what have I learned about myself? What am I learning about myself? Things are being revealed to me about myself that I didn't realize before, but that were always there, because that's the nature of the lot box, is whatever the surprise is something that was always the case. So, and the surprise is that you didn't realize it until then, and then suddenly you do. What is going to help you with that is we have Thurisaz reversed. Thurisaz is the rune of the thorn, the giant, the gateway, and it has to do with challenge. It always has to do with challenge, but when it's reversed, it's like challenge that feels like an impossible challenge, but it's in the helping line. So this is something where you're like, this may be challenging, but it's mine and I embrace it. And that's what's going to help you, is just embracing the challenge that is the things that you're learning about yourself and the things that you are experiencing that are helping you learn about yourself. It's a thorn wall, but it's your thorn wall. It's like Carolyn Casey says, my beautiful, dangerous assignment, instead of thinking of it as trauma or whatever you might be thinking about it that is making you shrink back. But this is something that you're going to embrace. This is your life's work. This is why you're here. So as you learn about yourself, the things about yourself, this is like, okay, this is my study. This is me. This is, the more I know about me, the more I know about who I am, the better I can react to unpleasant surprises. What isn't going to help is you are going to feel like that old worry about, how much time have I had and how much time have I used so far? How much time have I wasted? How little time may be left? And what do I have to show for it? We have Yira, which is the rune of the harvest, and also time. And that, when it's in the lower line, that's just that mess of worry that always comes up for that. Did I just spit on my card? Good for me. So if that starts to be the case, that worry, just bring yourself back up to, no, you know what? This is my assignment. This is my challenge in my life. It may be a life's challenge where I'm not going to have an end to this, but it's just basically, this is my curriculum in my life to learn who I am, to find out who I am and embody that in the best possible way. And this is as the light is returning, I'm getting more of them coming back out into this. And I'm like, okay, what am I learning? Asking myself as I move forward, what am I learning about myself? And how can I use this in my life's work of finding out who I am? Your next step on the path line, we have Count as reversed. Count as is the rune of the torch or the fire. When it's upright, it has to do with something starting small, like a ember, and going into a blaze, but it is reversed on the path line. So this is this is referring to focus. It's honing your focus. It's eliminating things that were crowding in on you that may have distracted you from your focus. So as you move forward in this, from the things you've learned about yourself, you're sort of honing your focus on what you're going to allow in your life, basically. Because there's everything, but you're not going to be involved. It's like, what was it? It was Jeremy Irons on Inside the Actors Studio, and he's talking about acting and how to think of a piano and the certain, as himself, as Jeremy, he plays certain chords, but he has access to all these other notes. And so when you're acting, anything that you have access to, you can use. So that, I don't know if that analogy actually helps in this case, but anyway, I love it. So basically what this is like, the more you learn about who you are, the more you can sort of eliminate and let fall by the wayside that isn't serving you. And that's sort of what you're doing at this point. It's like, well, then even though everything is coming in again from my time in solitude and turning inward, I don't need to worry about a lot of it. There's a lot of it that I can just let fall to the side because it's not something I need to concern myself with, because it doesn't serve what serves me. Like it doesn't help me. So I don't need to worry about it. It's not something I have to have in my concerns. What is going to help you is we have, and this is because of this as well, it's helping, but it's also because of it, we have Avaz reversed. Avaz is the rune of the horse. It has to do with movement and also spirit. In reversed, it's like, okay, two things. First of all, you're not going to be running yourself ragged anymore, because there are things that you had been tending to before that weren't a part of really who you were. And you were maybe doing it because it was expected of you, even though it wasn't an obligation. It was like, oh, people will think I need to do this, so I am going to do this. It's like, you don't need to do this if it's not you. And especially if it's making you miserable. So let it go and just, move on with the things. You don't have to run yourself ragged anymore. The truer you are to yourself, the less you have to run around frantically trying to please these imaginary people who don't even know you or exist. It's like this idea of who you have to be. And the more you learn about who you actually are, you can let go of those who I have to be people. And so you don't have to run around as frantically trying to take care of all of that. You just hone your focus to what really nourishes you. The other thing I'm going to say about Avaz reversed is that it is spirit. So you're going to be galloping. If you're galloping, you're going to be galloping inwardly and letting your spirit carry you inwardly. And that's going to continue this important lessons that you're having, these important lessons that you're having. What isn't going to help is we have Uruz reversed. Uruz is the rune of the wild ox. This has to do with strength and health. You may be worried about that you're not as grounded without those other things. You may worry that you may be worried about releasing resistance to who you actually are. So that may be a thing, or that kind of thing. You may worry that you're not as strong, but you are. Just let yourself be with this. Do I have time for another? Yes, I have all the time I need. What am I talking about? Yes, and there's your worth. I just wanted to add that. I mean, it's an emotional thing. So, and it's like going with the flow. So if you're eliminating things, you may be worried that you're letting go of things that that are keeping you strong and grounded. And this is an emotional thing. And it's like going with the flow. You want to keep these things, and it's like a momentum thing. But the more you know about yourself, the more you can let go. And then you have, again, you're not going to feel like you have to run around as crazy anymore. And also you can let your spirit carry you inwardly. And this is going to lead you to a greater sense of inner worth, which is represented here by Fehu reversed. Fehu is the rune of wealth and worth, and has to do with confidence and self-esteem. And that's going to help you the most. What your outcome is for this reading is a connection to your source energy. The more you can declutter to the point where you are connecting to your source energy in a most true way, the better things are going to be for you. And it's going to be all about getting rid of those things that are getting between you and your source energy. The more true you are to yourself, and the more authentic you are. And they've actually recently, I don't know how recently it was, they've done a study that's like the authenticity gives you an even more powerful auric field than love even, which is amazing. So that, card number 2, people, is your reading for the solstice and the returning light. I wish you all the best with this and a joyous solstice. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 3, people. So let's start by turning this card and seeing what we have for the return to the light. Turn back. Okay, so that's interesting. So it's almost as though, since he's got his back to and they both got their back to the light, I'm wondering, so there's a couple ways that I'm thinking I can read this, and I think I'm not really going to know entirely until I get the runes down. So let me just lay out my speculations. So 1, a sense that maybe before you return to the light fully, not that you're not in the light now, but in terms of like returning to, the more light of day kind of thing, there may be something that you forgot or that you need to wrap up or have finish some business with in your internal turning inward that you may need to go back and do something with. But the other thing that I may read this is that you may be the light may be coming back and you're still facing into darkness and you don't see it. You don't realize that the light is coming back. So there may be an instruction here to turn and see the light that's coming in. Maybe you're just not seeing it, because maybe it's behind you or something. Okay, so let's get some runes down and see what it is. Look at that. Look at that. Look at freaking that. That's amazing. It's basically saying turn back. I'm going to lay these out and then we're going to see. A lot of reversals, which is cool. It's like, this is a very neat, and all of the upright runes are what is helping you, which is really neat. Oh no, there's upright runes down here. There's runes down here that can't be not upright. Your central issue is Rytho reversed. Rytho is the rune of the journey, and reversed it is turning back. It is either ending a journey or turning back on your journey, or turning your journey inward, perhaps again, as we return to light. So leading up to this, we've had a long road of perhaps moving between worlds, but basically it's like step by step, patience, slow growth, slow development. And it's gotten to this point where you've reached a point where maybe it's time, like you've sort of agreed with yourself, maybe I don't see Gabo here, but you've maybe agreed with yourself that it's time to come out, but you're just not ready to. It's like you've forgotten something. You have to go back and get it. So, or address it or finish it. But either way, this is your central issue is the ending of a journey, and you're concerned about this. You want to turn back and go over some of this long road again that maybe you have unfinished business with. What is going to help you, and it's also indicated in the card, which is interesting, is Ansu's, which is the rune of communication. So if you have somebody that you can talk with about this, that's one thing. Another thing is to communicate your situation. Just basically, you can even say it. It's like, I think I'm not ready, and I think I need to go back for a few things. And another thing would be like expressing it. This is like manifestation and expression. So you want to express how you're feeling, because that's part of it, to bring things through from that long passage that you've had where you maybe were moving between worlds. So what isn't going to help is throwing yourself into the sun immediately. We have Sovila, which is the rune of the sun. It may also be energy levels as well, but I'm really seeing this in terms of where you could be. I mean, I think that might be the moon actually in the picture. But anyway, it's light. You may be feeling like, okay, this is the time that I was supposed to go out into the sun now, and just forcing yourself there when you still feel so strongly that you have unfinished business that you need to go back and tend to. So bring yourself back up if that starts to be the case. If you start to feel tempted that way to where you're expressing, no, you know what, I think I have to do something still. You just like talking to somebody that you trust, or else, expressing how you feel, or expressing something in art of some kind or some means of expression, because you need to go back and pick up on whatever it was that you feel hasn't quite been completed yet. Your next step on the path line and pinning the entire reading is Lagu's reversed. Lagu's is the rune of the water. It's emotion, intuition, and heart, and flow. It's reversed in the center, and I'm seeing this as, again, you're turning back the flow. You're basically saying, we're going to run back over that. We're going to not do it a do-over, but we're going to basically, seek the deep inner heart and look at those emotions that maybe still have to bubble up to the surface, and look to dreams and listen to your intuition. And it's basically, you're going to continue to do that. Even if everybody else has moved into light at this time, you definitely, something's not ready yet, and you need to go back and do that. What is going to help you? We have Thurizaz, which is the rune of the challenge. It's the thorn, the giant, the gateway. It is upright. So this is something that it's a threshold. Even though it's upright and pointed forward, I don't see this as meaning that you have to push yourself forward. I do see this as, maybe I do actually. Let me just look at this for a second. Let me get to a couple more runes down on this center line, because it's quite important. Yeah, so you're not ready to fit through the door yet, because you haven't let go of the things that no longer serve you. You haven't fully worked through that. So there is a threshold in front of you, and it's a concern, and you're thinking about it. But before you pass through that, you need to go back and let go of the things that no longer serve you. Perhaps there is an element of stepping outside of your comfort zone, but it's something that you will be doing. It may also refer to, even though it's pointing forward, it may be referring to stepping back over that threshold and, facing the things that no longer serve you so you can let them go, and finding home within, and sort of letting go of whatever comfort zone that was so that you can move forward. So there is all that sort of going on. And this is definitely, even if it's not something you're actually doing, it is a consideration thing that is going to help you a lot. What isn't going to help is rushing forward. This is funny because they kind of contradict each other, but I'll tell you how it is. So you're worried about rushing forward, as well as rushing forward will not help you. We have Avaz, which is the horse. This has to do with movement and spirit. Lower line, mostly movement. So it's basically worries about galloping forward on this. Even though, honestly, we could see this as, once you pass this part where you've gone back, maybe this is you going, okay, we're going to start to we're going to work on this so that we can keep moving forward and maybe cross a threshold and maybe let go of some things that no longer serve us. But rushing forward is still not going to help us, and worrying about rushing forward even more so. What isn't going to help is we have Isa, which is the rune of ice. So you're not standing still either. You're not just standing at the door and not doing anything. You're either going back and taking care of unfinished business, or you are standing at the threshold asking yourself, have I let go of what I've needed to? And do I have a sense of home within? Whew. So your next step on the path line is we have Tivaz reversed. Tivaz is the rune of Tyr. Tyr is the warrior god, and this has to do with taking care of things that no longer serve you, as well as driving forward. However, it's reversed. So what I'm going to say for this is, once you pass this point, where maybe you are starting to move forward through the threshold, like over the threshold, and you've taken care of the things that you needed to turn back to take care of, treat yourself well. We have Tivaz reversed, so it's basically make sure that you are tending to your own duties and responsibilities to yourself. Make sure that you're taking care of that, but also as you move forward, don't rush forward, and also keep your sword lowered. You're going to do this in a state of peace. You don't want to do this combatively. It's not a race. It's not it's not a competition. You just, take care of yourself. Make sure that you are tending to your needs and your duties. Don't neglect your needs. I'll get to that. What's helping you there is, once you've been through all of this, you know your value. You know the worth of not only you, but also what you're doing, and as you move forward, what you have around you. This is Fehu, which is the rune of wealth and worth. It's not money yet in the Elder Futhark, it's cattle. So it's the wealth that you tend. It's the things that, as long as you're taking care of it, will give you a sense of richness and wealth. So the things around you that, as long as you're taking care of them, make your life feel worthy and rich. Be doing that, because that's going to help you take care of yourself, basically. What isn't going to help is neglecting your needs. We have Nauthiz reversed. Nauthiz is the rune of need. It is reversed on the lower line. So I'm first of all, given the context of the rest of the runes in this spread, going to read this as, do not neglect yourself. Don't shove yourself into the light before you're ready. Do not gallop, do not force yourself at a gallop, and do not neglect your needs. So I'm seeing that, because if you neglect your needs, they will turn into an emergency, and you're taking care of them. You are taking care of them patiently and comfortably and calmly, but don't neglect them. And because neglecting them is the opposite of feeling your worth and taking care of the things that give your life worth. So don't neglect these things. Take care of yourself, and in order to do that, you're going to need to take care of the things around you that give your life a sense of worth. What this is all going to lead you to is feeling very much more surrounded by a sense of support. We have Algiz, which is the rune of the elk. This has to do, or the moose, if you're in North America. It has to do with protection and support. And so by doing all of this, as you return to the light, even with that little turning back that you did the first part of this, because you've done all of this, you will have set up around you a good, solid support system. And this is not even just internal, although internal is definitely implied, but this is upright. So it's basically, you have built this around yourself that you're going to feel supported as you move forward into the increasing light. So that, card number 3, people, is your reading for the returning light. I wish you a joyous solstice, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 4, people. So let's start with turning this card from the Gentle Creatures deck. I'm just stepping all over my tongue at this point. So your card is peace. So you're actually coming into the increasing light from a sense of deep peace, which you have found by turning inward over this past little while. And my tinsel is shedding. So you turned inward, you found some peace, which is great. And now you're going to be starting to move out into the light as you're sort of watching the light come in, which is really lovely. Let's get some runes down and see what this leads from. Yeah, and you can take care of yourself, which is lovely. So that's good. Boy, oh boy, this was a hard challenge that you've just been through. So congratulations. I'm not going to spoiler all of these runes before I read them, but wow. This is showing me quite the story. Is that blank? Yes, it is. Ooh, blank in the center. Cool. How are you? I'm just laying out the readings for this first. Laying out the runes first, and then I'll read them. Nice. Very, very lovely. Your central issue, card number 4, people, is Algaze reversed. Algaze is the rune of the elk or the moose, and this has to do with protection and support. It is reversed in the central issue spot. So you have, in addition to peace from when you turned inward, you have, in addition to that, found a sense of inner support, of inner protection, just this sense of, well, I mean, you draw a circle around that, you get this peace sign. So it's basically, you get that sense of being able to protect yourself, inner support, inner protection. Leading up to this, we have Thurzaz reversed. Thurzaz is the rune of the challenge. When it's upright, it's a challenge that you have to psych yourself up to do, but when it's reversed, it's a really hard challenge. It's a thorn wall, and you have gotten past it. And I think you got past it by turning inward and just basically finding that peace within, which is amazing. So this has led to this point in time where you are at peace and you're feeling like, I don't need to be afraid because I can support myself, I can protect myself, and I can stand up for myself. What is going to help you with this is just this, a few things. First of all, what helps you with this is the fact that you're taking care of yourself. You are tending to your own duties and responsibilities to yourself. We have Tivaz reversed. Tivaz is Tyr's rune. Tyr is the warrior god, and this has to do with basically not only driving forward, but taking care of duties and responsibilities. And when it's reversed, it refers to inner. Sorry, I'm just having to do something off camera. I was taking my sock off. There you go. In taking care of duties and responsibilities to yourself. My feet were hot. So there we go. Exciting news from the other side of the camera. So what's going to help you is making sure that you are tending to the duties and responsibilities that you have for yourself, to yourself. So that's definitely going to keep you able to stand up for yourself, able to support yourself, because you're doing that and you don't need anybody else to do that. Sometimes you might, but in terms of mostly. The other way that I'm going to read this is you are facing things choosing peace. You are facing things in a way that you are not going to be combative, and you've made this decision not to be combative. You're just facing things in a peaceful way. Peace. What isn't going to help is rushing forward into whatever. We have Avaz, which is the rune of the horse. It has to do with movement and also spirit. It's upright. It's a positive rune in a negative spot, which always means... actually, no, it doesn't always mean worry about that thing. It could also mean, like, don't rush ahead. So, because we basically, if you come out of this, you will need a moment after coming through a challenge like this. So this is not the time to just hit the ground at a gallop. But also you're worried, should I hit the ground at a gallop? Now that I've finished this, I don't have an excuse to be hanging back because I've solved this thing. But no, you need to continue to take care of yourself. And so give yourself that moment. There's moments coming up even that you're going to have to give yourself. I'm seeing them in the reading ahead. So just give yourself that moment, nurture that sense of being able to support yourself, and that's what's going to help you the most. Your central rune in the entire thing, central issue, but then central rune that's pinning the entire reading is the blank rune, which is being open to things, just basically having that non-judgmental sort of just sitting like very zen in the middle of things, but also connecting to whatever the divine is for you. It could be whatever it is for you. Honestly, it's not, you don't have to have, a belief or a faith or a religion to have a sense of the divine. This could be something as simple as nature, or it could be something as simple as the universe or higher self or something like that. So whatever the divine is for you, that's what you're going to want to connect with, because that's going to help you connect out to something bigger and something sublime and something beautiful that is going to help you stay open to what's around you and maintain this peace that you've started with. What's going to help you with that is whenever you get into a situation where you're irked by things and irritated by things, and things are starting to make you discontented and unhappy, And I'll get to all of that, but basically, if you start to feel like that, give yourself that moment of stillness. Give yourself another moment of stillness. You discovered how important those moments of stillness are already, even before this reading. So just give yourself that, and that will help you to connect with this, with being able to be open, and with whatever the divine is for you. It's stillness. Isa is stillness, the rune of ice, but it's also the stillness through which clarity comes. And if you give yourself that stillness, eventually that clarity is going to come in. What isn't going to help is you may, once you get out into things and you're sort of returning to the light of day kind of thing, things are going to start to irritate you. Things are going to start to poke at you. And like, it's just, even if they're not physically poking at you, it's just like things are going to irk you. And you're going to see those things that, you could be a perfectly lovely person in the calmness of solitude, but as soon as you get out into the world, you're like growling at cars. And it's just, so, the little unhappinesses that can overpower you if you're letting them. And the thing is, like, once you start to feel yourself do that, bring yourself back up here to where you're going to give yourself that stillness, so the clarity can come back in, so you can feel that connection again, and remember that you can support yourself, and remember what you've gotten through to get to this point. Your next step on the path line, we have Hagalaz, which is the rune of the hailstorm. This has to do with chaos and things that are out of your control, but also nature, natural forces, weather. It really is like this, going out and being just sort of open to things was like your test. It's like your trial. It's like, okay, I've done this. I'm returning into the light of day. How about this? I'm just step out. I'm going to be a little bit open to things. I'm going to try to maintain access to stillness. Yes, little things are going to irk me, but I'm going to do it anyway. And if things irk me, I'm going to give myself stillness, and then let the clarity come through and connect to whatever the divine is for me. So, law. Then you're ready to step out into where it's a little more crazy, where you're actually stepping out into things that are more chaotic. And you're sort of reminding yourself that it's like weather, none of it is permanent. So if it comes at me and it's crazy, it's just like I can sort of wait that out. But also, just the sense of like, I also am a force of nature, so I'm going to move out into this, and I am able to take care of myself. I am able to support myself, but I'm going to test this theory that is working really well for me, where I can open up to the clarity and stay peaceful. I'm going to do that, and it's just going to be crazy. One of the things that's going to help you with that, when you actually do that, in addition to the things that are helping you already, which is taking care of yourself and giving yourself moments of stillness, is to look at what is being revealed. It's all craziness, but it's like, it's not hiding. There are things that it maybe wants to hide, but it's not, because when it's all crazy around you, it's being everything. And then you're like, well, you know what? Everything is showing me things that are like for me, that I can see. So we have Peritha, which is the rune of the lot box. This has to do with surprises and fate, but the surprises in the lot box are not suddenly coming out of the void. They are what was in the box. So these are things that are being revealed to you that were always the case, but that you didn't realize before. And the fact that that you're stepping into a situation where it's very chaotic is allowing you to see this, and it's revealing things to you that are very exciting. So it's just fascinating. And so even though you definitely want to maintain the peace that you've obtained when you turned inward, it can become something really exciting and fascinating when you're in a really chaotic situation, especially if you can't get away from it. It's like, turn it into a show that's for you. And then you kind of like, oh, wow, look what I have observed now about the world that I didn't realize before, things like that. So it's not so much terrifying as it is, wow, look at that showing itself to me, kind of thing. What isn't going to help is we have Yira, which is the rune of the harvest and also time. Anytime Yira shows up in the not helping spot, the first thing is that old bundle of worries that everybody has to go through all the time, like often, which is all the things. So it's like, how much time has passed? How much time have I wasted? How much little time may be left? And what do I have to show for it? So if you're now getting this thing where you've worked up to this point where you can actually put yourself into a chaotic seeming situation and actually enjoy it, or at least, face it, there may be a sense of like, how much time have I wasted not doing this? because this is pretty cool. And I'm sort of riffing, but it's like that's one of the things that could drag you down is like, even if you're getting like benefits from this, like, wow, look at the things I'm learning, there may be that sense of, I could have been doing this 10 years ago. It's like, no, you couldn't. You had to get to this point. So please don't even remotely beat yourself up about that. The other thing I am going to say about this is, how do I put this? This is worries about maintaining the present moment. And all of this was about staying in the present moment. The peace, the feeling of support, taking care of yourself, giving yourself stillness, and, connecting with whatever the divine is for you. And you're very worried about maintaining that when you're in a situation of chaos, because you can't easily get into a situation where you have the stillness and all the other things that you were doing to maintain that. So where's my present moment? How do I access this? And then you can drive yourself into a panic. But when you're in a situation where everything's moving around you, definitely you're going to be present. But the way that you're going to be present is, what am I seeing? What am I experiencing? Like, what is it that I'm having revealed to me in this moment that it's like I couldn't have had any other way? It's exciting. And that's what's going to help you get through that step. What this is going to lead you to is, in the outcome of this reading, we have Ivaz, which is the rune of the yew tree. This has to do with patience, slow growth, slow development, taking things step by step, and moving between worlds. You are going to be able to go much more easily between these states of deep peace and solitude, and being open to all these things that give you that, and just to have that state of being able to be still and have that peace. From that, to be able to go into chaotic situations and into where things are crazy, like go on the subway or the deep city or whatever, all of that stuff that's going on where things are out of your control, where things are chaotic, and still stay in the present moment. And you do that by, of course, looking for what is being revealed. And so you're able to move between those worlds. There may be even more than two worlds that you're moving between. There may be the non-ordinary reality stuff that you're doing as well, which is excellent, and all that, and maybe moving between different circles of social settings. But you'll be able to do it because you'll have those tools to hand, both of them. Like, how do I maintain peace when I am in a state of solitude and stillness? How do I maintain a state of peace when I'm out in the crazy world? So we will have both of those, and you'll be able to move forward. So as things become more in your face light, and it could be like flashing lights as well, like flashy out in the world light, that's how you're going to do it. You're going to have that. You're going to have both of those, and you can switch between them and be comfortable with that. So that, card number 4, people, is your reading about the returning light. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening and a lovely solstice. Take care till next time. Bye.